Hi everyone, it's Cameron O'Brien here from the WA Tips and Rating Service. I'm interviewing myself to do a preview for a race at Ascot on Saturday, so I can show you the process I sort of go through and show you my prices and that kind of thing, and so you can get an idea of why I like certain horses and why I don't, and you can get a bit of a feel for what's going on here really. And so I chose this race for Saturday, Ascot Race 1, which is the 1800 metre Amelia Park Beef Benchmark 64 plus, worth $70,000, as I say, at Ascot on Saturday. Now, the first thing I do when I start to do the form is map them. I won't take you through the exact process of how I put them into their positions, etc. I'll just show you that here's one I prepared earlier with the speed map for this race. And as you can see, Rose's Shadow is a horse I think will lead, with Disco Ville, Sliced Bread and Bella's Idol sitting close. And I think that there won't be a great deal of pace. I think Rose's Shadow can get a reasonably easy lead here, and these ones just behind can get a pretty good card along as well. I think it'd make it a little bit harder for the ones back here, because the ones up front should have plenty of energy left to sprint with, making it harder for them to sprint over the top. So I think the on paces will be favoured a little. It is 1800 metres, so it's not as bad as the sprint races where you really should be on pace unless there is lots of pace on. They can come from behind at Ascot over 1800 metres, but I think with what I think will be a moderate pace, you'll have a slight advantage being on pace. It's not the end of the world if you're not, but a slight advantage. So we'll go through the runners, and then we'll go through my market, and we'll see if there's any bets. The first horse is Mikimoto, a very interesting mare who is having her second run in from a long spell. She had 427 days off between here and here, won a trial before going 101, 102. But interestingly, back here, she had quite a lot of ability. She went 102 on debut, which is a very good effort. And then racing wide, she went 97 the next start, and then up to 107. You can see her 5-point levels coming into play there before the prep ended here. And obviously she had injury problems after that to have the 427 days off. Durant hasn't sort of rushed her back. He's obviously waited until she was right, and she's won a trial. And she was good here. And the video comment says unfit, which indicates maybe they knew something about her, or heard a mounting out report that says she was unfit perhaps. But then her second run in here over 1400 metres at Pinjarra. Now they walked this day. She won the race. She was a $1.40 favourite, so she was expected to win the race. But the pace figure was 1.036, which, without going into details of that, that means it was quite slowly run. She came from sixth in a field of 7. She sat back, and watching the replay, she gave them a few lengths on the home turn, and they're all sprinting home. She was the only one to make any reasonable ground from the back. It was a nice win against the pace. I like seeing horses do something against the pace that the rest of the field can't do, and she did that day. Went 102. That told me that she's back on track to get back to 107. I mean, one day she might go beyond the 107, but we can't really project that just yet. And but I do think that she could well get back up to towards 107 for this next run. So I then look at where she maps, and she maps not too far off the pace. Just, I mean, she was back here at the 1400 metres, but up to the 1800 metres from that barrier, I would expect that they'd be a bit more aggressive. Bella's Idol, he's one of the horses that's in the market, and I think Mikimoto would be wise to not let that horse get too far ahead. And Chris Parnham's a very good rider, so I don't think he will. So I pushed Mikimoto up to 106, just not quite to the 107, because my little query about the horse is that she's going to 1800 metres, a jump of 400 metres, third up. It's a little query, 28 days, but not too worried about that. Durant knows what he's doing, obviously. So I'm not overly fussed about that. But third up, 1800 metres is not really the pattern you want to do, but that's why I took a point off, but I still went up to 106. Next horse is Bella's Idol. Now, this horse won for us just last Saturday at, well, SP of $17, as much as 23 was bet. The morning 21 was bet, and that was a good win. That's not the reason I did the race, but doesn't mean that I can't highlight it. And the horse won really well. Pateman did. I hoped that Pateman would be more aggressive than he was to start before, when the horse was unlucky, rating a 96, running fourth over the mile. And he was from a middle draw that time. Pateman posited up fourth and fifth, and just hooked out in the straight and just got over the top of them. Brett Pope's backing it up 7 days later, which is a sign that the horse came through it well. So I'm okay to keep pushing that horse up as it goes fifth up. It's got a best of 104. I've pushed up to 103, and that makes it a decent chance. But with 58.5 for it, 59.5 for Mikimoto. If Mikimoto goes 106, and if Belzado goes 103, then Mikimoto is going to beat it. So we'll move on and see what that means for the rest of the field. This is a horse that's an interesting runner. Decoy Noxious. Didn't quite know what to do with this horse last week, a week and a half ago, I should say, when it also won, because it was first up for 88 days and first up at 1,800 metres from 88 days. Dion Luciani racing it fresh like that. He'd only had it for 2 runs, and before that, had been with lots of different trainers, as you can see. And I wasn't quite sure how to mark it. It's obviously gone well. It's gone to 98, which is a peak. I don't think it's done 98. No, it hasn't done 98 before. And you can see by the comment here, it raced wide. It went around them and took over and just sort of kept going. It was a good win. And so it's a hard one to mark. I'm trying to work out, how do you give a horse like this? What figure do you give? Because I'm not quite sure what its top is. Given Luciani's got it now, that's sort of more like 100 to 101 figure the way it raced wide. But it's also second up off a spell now, and horses often go with a flat run second up, especially if they've had a good run first up. Even this horse did it down here when he did a 95 and then went back to a 90 second up. It's a really common pattern. So Decoy Noxious will go back against this moderate pace. That's one of the things I said was not ideal in this race to do. So I didn't want to really, go super bonusing it up too much on that win. I sort of thought it was like 100, 101. Maybe it could do 103. It's got these lots of 93s here. Then it comes up this 98, this 98 plus. And so I think, okay, maybe it can do 103 one day. Maybe that's its, top mark kind of thing for now. But I didn't really want to go much higher than 101, given that he's going to go back, and given that he will be back in a moderate pace, and also back that the fact that he's second up from a bit of a break. And so I went to 101. That makes him a $19 chance on my prices, and he's much shorter than that in the real market at the moment. He's about $7.50. So I have to oppose him. I opposed him last start and was wrong, but yeah, I have to with the facts and figures against him here. His figures, his ratings are less than the horses above him, and he doesn't get any weight off Belzado, same weight as Belzado, only a kilo off Mikimoto. And so, yeah, I mean, he's going to need more than 98 to win if those horses perform. Going to Media Baron, the next horse, who is also a back marker and is an enigmatic kind of horse. Look, I've got him mapping last, as you can see there. He does get well back. Now, working up through his career, when his maiden went 93, got up to 102 here, which is sort of like 103 as he went wide on the turn. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's probably 103 horse at his top, and he came back well going 100 over an unsuitable 1,200 metres. And so when they do that, and the video comment, working clear 5 wide, ran on strongly, flying late. When they do that, I'm thinking, well, he's in 103 form. At some point this prep, he'll probably do his 103. And then he had a lower rating second up. Video comment here is he charged through the line unlucky. And then another one where last, kept going 5 wide down the straight. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, we've got 103 horse when things go right for him. He's fourth up. He's probably ready to peak. But my issue is he settles last. And from barrier 9, he's not really going to be able to push up. He'll have to go back. And so I've ended up with him 101, which makes him an $11.70 chance. And at $6.50 in the real market, well, I'm obviously not going to be on him. But to be honest, I think he'll drift. A horse with a racing map pattern like that, they tend to drift. Rose's Shadow, the one who I said was the leader in the race and should get his own way in front, really led all the way or outside the lead here at Pinjarra last start, over 1,500, goes up 300 metres from that. Now, it's a consistent horse, worked up from a 90 maiden up to holding 97s and 98 and held 98s and has got 98 again. It's the market once sort of had 101 in it. Working on 5-point levels, I think it could have 100 in it, and given it's going to get every possible chance in front, I want to give it 100. I've given it 100, but that still makes it a $18.70 or $19 chance, and that's about what he is in the market. Kennedy will give it every possible, and it's won over 1,850 anyway, so there's no problem to trip. Fourth up, and it's ready to do its best, and 100 looks like its best, and certainly can't give it more than that. But you want to give horses like this who are going to get every possible if they're fit, fourth up, and in form. You want to give them every possible to do their best. Burger Time, a good horse on his day, and he showed that back here at York, and he showed that back here at Ascot with a good second in where are we there in October, and went 102. Now he's got a wet track 105 here. This blue indicates wet. Won by 5.8 lengths over 2,100 metres at Belmont in the soft 7. But I'm not going to use that as a guide for today. On his dry track figures here, he's got 102, 100. But then he kind of tapered with his form here. He wasn't going so well. And then he's had 53 days off prior to this last run. We went back from 2,200 to 1,800 metres, and he was okay. It was a bit of a fitness run, a bit of a blowout run, sort of a tune-up run, you might say, going 96. I know he can do 102. I'm ignoring 105 for the purposes of the dry track run. And I'm willing to bump him up because I like this pattern where they have a bit of a 53, a little let up, a little mini spell, and then back up within 10 or so days. I think, well, they're probably fitter for that. His issue is he'll be just a bit off pace. He might end a little bit further back, but from that gate, he'll have to sit wide. He may, hopefully, for his sake, he pushes up somewhere midfieldish. So I've given him 100.5, and that makes him a $12.50 chance. He's $15 in the real market, so he's might even end up a little overlay. Royal Strata is just outclassed. Just looking at his line of figures. I mean, she's got 88 back here early on and gotten to a best of 96, and just that won't win. I've given her the 96, and it still makes her 50 to 1, and so it's as generous as I could be. What's she in the real market? 25 to 1. Buctorio. All right, okay. A 98 win. My little comment over here says found line well, did a set solid pace, bit held up a good on line. Went to 98 there. 98, 99 maximum sort of thing is this horse. But then last start went to Ascot and failed, so didn't hold its peak there. And another one who's going to be back in the field. I ended up with 96.5 from the horse at $35, and it's about 20 to 1 in the real market. Discoville just can't really win. It can, but only if it finds its absolute best and other horses fail. And you don't really plan for things like that to happen. The horse has got 98 to 99, so it's a 7-year-old now that's getting on a year ago that those things were happening. It's had quite a few goes this prep and not managing to peak, so I didn't really want to be a part of it. Sliced Bread is an interesting runner and the bottom runner in the field and the second pick for mine. Second or equal second, whatever it is, has been racing really well. Started its winning career with this maiden win back here in November and went 94. And as I always talk about these 5-point patterns, it was able to work up to its 99 here at Ascot. And I really liked that run. This little comment that I put in said, went through between runners and strong on line, nice horse, more ground long term. And I've been sort of watching it since then, and it had a good run here when it went 94. My video comment had no hope from last in a very slow pace, very good on the line, and it had 42 days off prior to that. And then I was on here, and it just did nothing. It was just a terrible run, and so I'm a bit worried off that. But I always am willing to forgive one bad run. I think that it's got the ability to be 104 horse. I don't think 99 is its top, but I'm not willing to go anywhere near 104 at this stage of its career. It may well be also that it just needs a spell. It said this is still its first prep, had several runs. He gave it a little break, but it hasn't actually had a spell, so maybe that's what's going on. I did give it 100 though, also because it maps pretty well. As you can see, it's just on the pace there. And so I ended up with it at 100 for giving this run last start, basically. And that means, excuse me, that it's my market has Mickey Moto's $2.60 top pick and Slice Bread $6.90. Bella's Idol not very far away at all, pretty much equal second at $7.50. And Media Baron will settle last, Burger Time, and so on and so forth. And the real market has Mickey Moto's $2.70, $2.80 available, and assuming those prices hold up, that's the horse I want to back. As I said, she's going to get a great run. I think this 102 was 102 plus because she came from against the pace, back against the slow pace, and managed to run them down. I think the 1800 is okay. My only query is that she might be there one run too early. I'd prefer it to be fourth up than third up. But beyond that, she won third up last time as well. Won her first three, obviously. and I've got a clear top pick. I've got a 2 points clear on top and priced up at 260. I want to be on at that price or higher, basically. And so that's what my play is going to be in this race as things stand right now. So that's the end of that. I'll shut this off. That's race 1, Ascot, for Saturday. I hope you enjoyed that preview. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I hope I made sense, and I hope I've given you a winner. Let's kick home Mickey Moto, and I'll do another preview next week. Goodbye.